Go ahead.
American law is supposed to work.
But the president does have the authority to fire an FBI director, Jeffrey, right?
He certainly does. He absolutely does. Bill Clinton fired William Sessions early in President Clinton's term. There is no question that the president has the legal authority to do what he has done. But that is not by any means the end of the inquiry.
Let's stop. I thought he'd said earlier that it was a constitutional problem. Isn't that what he said? Well, he certainly has that power, but that's not the end of the inquiry. Go ahead.
This is a political act when the president is under investigation, when his White House counsel...
Is the president under investigation? We were told he was not under investigation. What does this little jerk know that the rest of us don't know? Is the president under investigation? But the investigation, whatever kind of investigation it is, goes on. Nothing stops the investigation. I just want to be quite clear about this. As phony as aspects, at least, of this investigation may be, it goes on. It doesn't stop. The people who are still investigating are investigating. Go.
Was described yesterday as being told that his national security advisor was subject to blackmail by the Russians. And they fired the attorney.
Did the president issue an order yesterday saying there shall be no further investigation about the Russians? If he did, I missed it. Did the deputy attorney general anywhere in his memorandum say that we will stop investigating the Russians? If he wrote that, it's in invisible ink. Did the attorney general put that in his letter? No, he didn't put it in his letter because he's recused from that, so that has nothing to do with it. They said exactly what they meant and did exactly what they intended to do. It has nothing to do with the Russia investigation or a cover-up or Sally Yates or the former U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York or the Constitution or anything else. Go.
General, a few days later, now they've fired the FBI director. I mean, what kind of country is this?
What kind of schmo is he? What kind of network is CNN? You know, it's not even a question anymore of whether the media are biased. The media hate America. They're every bit as evil as Donald Trump said. The media hate America. And the more we watch them, the more we listen to them. This president, like him or not, voted for him in the primary or not, this president has drawn out the true feelings and beliefs of the media, hasn't he? He's drawn them out like nothing I've ever seen before. They hate him more than they hated Nixon. They hate him more than they hated Reagan. They hate him. Broadcast media, whether it's these phony comedians on late night, whether it's guys dressed up as legal analysts, guys dressed up as news anchors, gals dressed up as reporters, whatever it is, they hate this guy so much, even when he does something they really like. Look how they feign, this is what they do in non-democratic countries. What? Fire an insubordinate employee? Fire an employee who didn't follow the rules? Fire an employee who, according to the candidate of the opposite party, undermined her chance to be president of the United States? Doesn't even make any sense. More from Toobin. This time he's on with Don Lemon. Now, Don Lemon, I've told you before, like the rest of them over at CNN, is a complete and utter buffoon. Let's take a listen to what took place there. Go ahead.
I don't know whether there's been a cover-up.
By the way, so important is this guy's Toobin's input that he's bouncing all over CNN. Yeah, let's get him on the Don Lemon show. Oh, no. And let's get him on Anderson Cooper. Oh, we just had him on with Wolf Blitzer. Go.
Has-been is a travesty. You know, I can't speak to the ultimate motivations of the president in why he did this. But the fact that he did this will disgrace his memory for as long as this presidency is remembered. You know, there is only, one date that will be remembered after January 20th so far in the Trump presidency, and it's the day of the Tuesday night massacre.
Why do we care? Why is this guy put up on a pedestal by CNN? Is it because he's particularly bright? No. Is it because he's particularly good-looking? No. Is it because he has a particularly impressive background? No. Is it because he's really an expert in the law? No. Because he's a big-mouth, liberal, slip-and-fall lawyer who they can dress up as a legal analyst to go out there and trash the President of the United States, pretending that he's doing it based on the law and the Constitution and policy and American tradition. No, that's not who he is. He's a puppet. That's exactly what he is. Now, there's more. We also have Brian Williams. Now, you might recall Brian Williams. They dragged him back. Remember when he was the big anchor in NBC and lied through his teeth? You know, I can remember that day in Iraq when we flew in and, you know, we were taking incoming. Oh, yes, we were taking incoming, and I had to duck and run and so forth. He was a liar. So much of what he said was a lie. So they pull him off the air for 6 months. They hope you'll forget. Then they put him back. So here he is. He is on MSLSD, MSNBC, and now he's talking about the Comey firing. Go ahead.
A startling series of events within the last 45 minutes or so.
All right, Peter Alexander.
By the way, you mentioned stunning, shocking, startling. As a matter of fact, it was embarrassing watching cable TV. One of the cable channels, they actually had one of their local TV affiliates with their helicopter following the Comey cars as he was driving to the airport like it was O.J. Simpson. Then they get out, they go to the jet, they're commenting on it. Wow, look at that. It was so absurd. Media have become such a bunch of clowns. By the way, who's this jerk on the right? I've never seen him before, but then again, I don't watch this network. I do know the jerk on the left. Go ahead.
White House, what may become known as the Tuesday afternoon massacre at the FBI.
Tuesday afternoon massacre at the So they're pushing this line. The media are pushing the line. They want you to think it's Watergate, it's Nixon, it is the Saturday Night Massacre, as they called it. Well, there's no massacre at all. The facts are totally irrelevant. They're totally different than they were before. Maybe you could call it like, maybe it's Chappaquiddick. Should we call it that? Maybe it's Chappaquiddick. Or maybe it's the blue dress. Those are events that'll live in infamy, yeah? But this is how awful the media are. Now, we have another jerk by the name of Chris Matthews. Now, his wife ran for Congress in a Democrat primary outside of Washington, D.C. She's extremely liberal, as is Chris, and she lost. But she's a big Democrat activist, as Chris Matthews was. You know, he was a mouthpiece for Tip O'Neill. He was a mouthpiece for Jimmy Carter. Now he's a mouthpiece for the Democrats over that MSLSD like all the rest of them. And I want you to hear what this fool had to say. Ready? Go.
What we saw tonight is the rule of law does not matter. It's the rule of political power.
All right, let's stop. I don't know who this... Oh, former FBI... You know, there's like thousands and thousands of former FBI. So they drag this guy and they make sure he's a lib. I don't know who he is. Clint Watts, former FBI agent. Great, who cares? You know, the rule of law is violated. Everything's violated. They're looking for a homeless guy to say it. You know, we'll find an ex this, and maybe we'll find somebody else to say it. Just bring him in here. We need a conga line of detractors. It's a law. We've never seen anything like this. The same people, the same media outlets who were trashing Comey, who couldn't give Hillary Clinton enough face time and enough voice time as she's putting out her preposterous ideas about why she lost the election, having nothing to do with her, of course. Now, again, they pivot and they reverse course. They pivot and they reverse course because Trump fired the very guy she's condemning, and they're not going to give Trump any kudos for doing the right thing. Rather than saying, you know what, Obama should have done that, Trump did it, kudos, thank you. No, it's a cover-up and a pattern of a cover-up. Oh, they must be getting close to the Russian investigation, close to collusion. No, it has nothing to do with any of that. So this is all truly fake news. These are frauds. So today, yesterday, tomorrow, all these news stories have nothing to do with news, and we're going to hear them endlessly. It is a mantra. It is propaganda. It is conspiracy nut stuff.